Hi, this is Jared from Shoegnome, and today we're going to look at the Shoegnome Open Template and cover the basics of starting an Archicad file from a template. We're going to be looking at the Shoegnome Open Template version 26 for Archicad 26, but if you're using an older version of Archicad or you're in the future and you're using a newer version of Archicad, the overall basics should be pretty much the same. Before we get started, please like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. You can click that notification bell up the top if you want to get notifications of new videos. Thank you to my daughter Madeline for editing these videos and putting it all together. I couldn't have done this without you. Okay, so when you start a file with the Shoegnome Open Template, you're going to get this screen to start. It's just a worksheet with some basic information. Some key factors that we're going to cover in this video are favorites. That's item number 2. Item number 3 is the library. If you're using the USA localization of Archicad, then you're all set. If you're using any other localization, like the international, the UK, the Australia, the German, the Spanish, etc., you'll need to make sure you load the Archicad 26 USA library. You can download that from shoegnome.com, or you can just convert everything to your local library. I've got a video on that, and that's item number 3. Item number 4, we'll talk about parameter transfer a little bit, and then probably cover some of these other items as well. So let's move on from here. We're going to go to the project startup checklist. Again, this is another worksheet that's open when you start a file with the Shoegnome Open Template. As you're done with these, you can just go ahead and close them because you don't need to come back here. So item number 1, update your template. If you're using my template, you want to check to see if there's a new version out there. If there is, download that, start using that. Or if you're developing your own template, make changes to your template before you start a new project. It's the perfect time. Next up, project info. This one's really important. This is in my template where you fill out all the basic information about the project. To get to there, we're going to go up to File, Info, and over to Project Info. And in here, we're going to type in project name, project description. Basically, anywhere you see text, add stuff to it. Some of it you might not know right away, like the permit number, you can skip that, or if you don't use project numbers, that's all fine. But all this stuff that's in here, contact information, client information, architecture, architect name, all this stuff, this will show up elsewhere in the project, so you're putting this information here. For instance, here, the site full address, zoning type, all that. So you're going to do that project info there. Next thing you want to do is also project preview and architect credits. So let's go back up to File, Info, and then over to project preview and architect credits. You can paste in here, go down here, browse, find an image you want, paste it in here. This is what the icon will look like on your machine. And then over here, architect credits and BIMX, you can type in the display text, you can type in a URL it goes to, and then paste in a logo. This is what will show up as the cover image in a BIMX file. So again, get this out of the way right away, and then update it throughout the life of the project. If you want to have a current image of the project, or if you just want a logo of your business, you want to update this so it's not promoting my template to your clients or Graphisoft to your clients, because they don't care. Okay, next up, title block. So I'm going to go to this third worksheet that's open in the project. And right here, this is the standard title block I have in the Shoegnome Open Template. If we jump ahead to the layout book and we scroll down here to the master layouts, you can see that here is a placed view of that template right here. That placed view is in all these different templates, or all these different master layouts. And the way I have one title block work for different size sheets is I've just cheated and I place 2 views on top of each other, the same view, and then just splice them together so it looks like a longer title block. Kind of an easy cheat. Okay, let's go back to the title block. Now let's zoom in to see what we have here. So company logo, just drag and drop an image from whatever you want for your company logo, delete that. All this stuff here, you can see Shoegnome Open Template version 26, fake street, 1, 2, 3, 4 imaginary lane. If we go back to project info, And let's call this test project. And let's give the site, let's call it, I don't know, 1313 Mockingbird Lane. And let's say it's in Scary Town, Connecticut, and 06342 or 341. We hit OK. Now you can see test project. There's our date. I'm going to use my shortcut, which is $. If you use my Shoegnome work environment, you'll have that keyboard shortcut. We can go and give this a project number. My project numbers are always the last 2 digits of the year and then a 3-digit number. So let's call it project 22 123. So you can see we've put that in there. Architect company. Let's call that Shoegnome Architects. And so we start filling in this, and we're never actually typing in any of this information. Here, we're doing it in project info. And now if we go over to a sheet, go to a master, we can see that's all there. And if we go to a typical sheet, that's all there as well. Now, since I'm here for something like adding in dates of issues, I don't use the issue manager in Archicad. I haven't gotten a hold of it or handle on it, and it's just a little cumbersome for my typical work. So I will just type in generic text here, copy and paste it down, and put that information manually into the title block. I do have, if you noticed in my project info, this one manual date. Sometimes I'll have this date placed as auto text throughout my project if I need to just quickly change a date on multiple places. So that is the title blocks. One other thing about title blocks, since I'm here, let's go back to the view map or the layout book. If we go to my 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17, I have a title down here. That's just lines and text on the actual master layout because it's specific to this size. But again, this is all auto text. So the basics are there. And again, the whole point of this template is if you don't like this layout for how the title block is, rearrange it, get rid of that, move this however you want, do whatever crazy things you want. But if you stick within this rectangle, then when you go to look at the typical sheet, everything still is in the frame, right? So we're working within the frame of this placed view, which is the title block. So as long as you stick within this rectangle, you're going to be fine. Okay, let me close these, and that's it for title block. And again, I suggest you set up your title block right when you start a project. If you're using my template regularly, you can copy it in from another project or tweak a version of the template to have this stuff in there from day one. Okay, so we've done update the template, we've done the project info, we've done the project preview, we've done the title block. This other stuff, I'm going to gloss over a little bit, but you can set up the project location, and that's under basically project preferences, location settings. You can do that. And now we're basically ready to start the project. So if we go to the plan, you'll see that right now I have a basic site and this building which says delete me. The reason why I have all that stuff is if we go to the layout book, and let's just go to, say, the main level plan. Here, you can see we have a building there already in our view. And if we go to elevations and sections and all that, you can see we've got some dummy thing there. So that means when we delete this, we start drawing our building, as long as we're drawing the building kind of in this zone, we'll know that it's going to be roughly in view in all these placed views. So even if you need to rearrange stuff on a sheet, you know the building's already there. So since we're talking about setting up sheets, I'm just going to continue that vein of conversation. So if we go to this sheet, or let's say this sheet. If you don't need the whole sheet for one plan, you can just go ahead and, move the building to the view you want and then shrink this. And if you look closely at my sheets, there's some little hotspots there that help or connect, kind of cut the building or cut the sheet in half, both vertically and horizontally, so we can get, that there. One trick is if you set up your view here, say this is exactly how you want the building, we can copy this over to here, and then right click, go link drawing to, and select a different floor plan. So this is the main level. We can go say upper level. And now this plan and this plan are perfectly aligned in their own window, just a different story or a different view. Again, you could click this and we could go link drawing to and set this to a demolition plan or a structural plan, what have you. So with this template, the way I suggest working is once you're ready to set up your sheets and make it more specific to your project, instead of deleting everything here, use these as a starting point. So say this is main level and upper level. You don't need this upper level sheet. Now you can just delete that, or better yet, drag it down to not in sheet list down here. Similarly, all the elevations are set to be 1 per page. If you don't need that, you can, drag this down, drag this over, drag this over. We can go to this elevation, select this, just drag it up to this sheet. Now we've got this one here. We can drag that over. Find my hotspot up there. And so you can do that and get drawings to now be all in one sheet. And again, if you don't need this one, you can delete it, or you can just drag it down here to not used. There's more on setting up the layout book, so just ask questions in the comments, but hopefully that gets you kind of going with that. Okay, I want to talk about favorites next, because that's the easiest way to start building stuff. So to get to favorites, we can click the little favorites icon there. We can go to Window, Palettes, Favorites, or if you're using my work environment, Shift tilde pulls up the favorites. Favorites are all nice and organized, and from here you can just pick whatever you want to start with. Say we're going to start building exterior wall. First, let me select this and delete that, because that's what it tells me to do. And now you can just start building your building, right? I'm not going to go through and talk about build a building properly, but this is what we want to do, is just start building. And then you always want to work from favorites. This is going to help you keep the graphics looking right. So there's some favorites. I'm actually looking here. This is an early version of my Archicad 26 template, and I'm seeing some issues here that need to be fixed with how that insulation is relating to the walls. But I'm not going to fix it on this video right now. Okay, so you can see we're putting in windows, and they look nice. If, however, you need a window that's not a favorite, or an element that's not a favorite, the thing to do is go into the window settings or whatever, object settings. Say we want this one, this archtop window. You want to hit Option Command or whatever the equivalent is on a PC to get the syringe, and hold that down and then click on the window or click on the element. When you do that, you're going to get, there's an issue with that one window there. Let's do that again. So I'm going to click, say, this one. You can see the graphics, the colors stayed the same there. That's what you want to see. So if I do this and now I place this window, that looks good. If instead of holding down Command Option, I were to just click there, you can see that suddenly the graphics are wrong. This window's white, it doesn't have trim. That tells me that when I clicked on this window, I didn't use parameter transfer. And so all the hard work I put into setting these elements up to be correct in 3D and 2D and have their data all set up is lost when you click just like that. You need to do that Command Option when you click. So if you use my template, you call me, you ask for help, you send the file to me, and I take a look at it, and I see a lot of windows that are like that, or a lot of doors that don't have the right colors, I know one of the things you're doing wrong is not using favorites or not using parameter transfer to go between favorites. So that's super important. Okay, now let's spend some time and talk about the basics of attributes. Much like favorites, attributes are a key feature of a well-developed template and important to getting the most out of Archicad. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the attributes palette here so we can see what I'm talking about. Different attributes are layers, layer combinations, pens, lines, etc. Up here in the top right, I have the attributes palette, or an attributes toolbar, because I find it being able to access attributes quickly is super important. So layers, pretty straightforward. On the right, we have layers. On the left, we have layer combinations. So layer combinations are groups of layers that are displayed. So the way my template is set up is pretty much everything is kind of plain English, self-explanatory. Right here is the floor plan layer combination. These are the layers you want to see when you're working on a full floor plan. These are the layers you see for an elevation, etc. So when you're working, if you're working off my template in the view map, over here, everything is already set up. Demolition plan should have the right demolition layer combination. The site plan should have the site plan layer combination. Sections have sections, etc. So if you're just following the logic of my template and using the view map to navigate to your basics, or setting up new things and following that same logic and being like, okay, I'm doing an electrical plan now, or I'm doing an interior elevation, this is the layer combination I want to use. Next up, lines. Nothing really to cover here. They're lines. Same thing with fills. The only thing to note about fills, and this is a whole other video, is there are different types of fills in Archicad. There's drafting fills, there's cover fills, there's cut fills. There are building materials acting as fills. I don't want to get too much into that, but that's a great topic. Next up, we have building materials. And so this is all the things that elements are made out of. So a wall might have a layer of chipboard, a layer of studs, a layer of sheathing, a layer of bricks. And so that's all this stuff. For the most part, everything you need should be in this file if you're doing kind of standard residential construction. If you're doing commercial work or things outside of the US, you might need to add some additional building materials, but again, if you follow the logic of what's here, you'll be good to go. And I would say just try and start with what's here because we should have most of what we need. Next up is composites. So here is like sandwiches of building materials that describe walls, slabs, roofs, shelves. As is a common theme within my template, everything is labeled very clearly. So if we look, you can see what we're looking at right now is an exterior wall with CMU, half-inch chipboard, 2x flat insulation, rigid insulation airspace brick. And this is a 2x6 wall with insulation and sheathing, etc. You can go through. It's very clear what everything is. So when you're working, all you have to do is find the wall that describes what you're trying to do. So if you're, say, here working the wall tool, you just go, okay, it's an exterior wall, so we're going to click on that folder, and we'll look for the exterior wall that meets my needs. Unfortunately, Archicad clips it a little bit, so you might have to go here and dig a little harder, because this is a flaw in Archicad 26, which needs to be fixed. Oh, so if we just hover over it for a moment, you can see what it is. Sorry, I'm new to Archicad 26. This is the longest I've been in it since updating my template, so I'm just learning this. So you'll have to, this is a work in progress to figure out what the best way to do this is. But anyways, you can also type in and say, I want an exterior wall that has, whatever, spray foam or something, getting the handle of that too. So that's how we get to the different walls. After that, we've got profiles, which just click on one here, double click on that. Okay, it opens up profile. If you double click, let's close that. Okay, so profiles here, these are your complex profiles. Again, they're all kind of the different standard stuff that I need in a project and that you might need. And if you add new ones, you can create new ones and then just add them to whatever the right folder it is. But again, the nice thing about the way this template works is you don't need to really look at any of that stuff, because if we're starting from favorites, we can go to walls and say, okay, I'm doing a 2x4 interior wall, so I'm starting there. And then from here, I might need to change it a little bit. But you should always be able to start from a favorite. And if we look at the details of the favorites, there's a lot of things. There's posts and beams, there's foundations, there's annotation, kind of everything. Every starting point should be in favorites. And if there's not, you can slow down and make your own favorite, or let me know and I'll add it to my to-do list. I'm going to do a longer video on pens in the future, but let's look at them real quick. So my template is based off everything in color. If for some reason you don't want to use color, you can edit all the views and switch them to the black and white or grayscale fills. And then if you want to see everything in bright magical colors, I have those here as well. If you just want to be able to quickly visually see if you have the right pens by color. Something that's nice is here is a description. Every pen that I use, which is everything that's not this kind of baby puke brown, the description will describe what it is. So for instance, pen number 6 is used for door swings. Pen number 5 is just a general pen. Here's pen number 4 for objects. This one's for doors and windows, etc. So if you're not sure what to use, look at another object or another element at a favorite and see what pens it uses, or just look up here at the description and figure it out. Some of my pens here are just always colored when you need just an always color. And then this is for markers. That's for markups. And then down here is the fills. But I'll go into all this in more detail in a future video. But I thought it'd be nice to just do a quick overview of what's going on with the pens. Okay, next up, let's go back and look at the Navigator for a second. So the Navigator is this over here, and we've got the project map, which is all the basics of the project. The view map, these are all your saved views. Layout book, this is all your sheets. And then last here is the publisher. This is how you can save out PDFs, create a BIMX file, save images to JPEGs, etc. There's a lot of different options. In general, when you start my template, it's all set up for a basic BIMX file and a basic PDF set. So all you have to do is go to publishing properties, set where you want the path to be, give it a name, and hit publish. Similarly, for layouts to PDF, create the name, create the path, you're good to go. And then what's important to know is what this is doing. This right here is a clone folder of the CD folder. So if we go back here to the layout book, you can see all my sheets are living underneath this folder, the CD, and then I've got this not in sheets list. So anything that's in here will be part of this PDF set or this BIMX set. So if you take something out of that CD set and put it into not in sheet list, it'll leave that PDF set. Or if you need to create a new drawing or a new layout, you can just add it and make sure that it falls under this CD folder, and you'll be good to go with those those publisher sets. Now, I think we're going to stop here. There's so much more to this template, and there's so much more to using Archicad, but hopefully the basics we walked through today will give you a little more comfort in how to start using this template and the basics of using it correctly. So thank you very much. Like I said at the beginning of this video, please like and subscribe. That helps me a lot with all the YouTube metrics. Comment below if you have questions, and let's just talk more and learn about more Archicad in the future. Thank you very much.